Nuclear Regulatory Commission Inspection Manual NMSSDFM Inspection Procedure with the 88201 Appendix A Configuration Management effective June 2025. Program Apply Inspection Manual Chapter 2600 2694 88201 A01 Inspection Objectives. Determine the applicant license for the establishment for the implement with the effective configuration management program. Ensure the consistency of the facility with the design operational come with the physical configuration facility with the document. Determine the applicant license of the configuration management capture of the formal documentation over governing facility construction. Continue with the modification site instructor of the process system components with the computer program personal activity supporting management measures. 10102 03 determine the applicant of the configuration management for the program adequately established with the implementing measures associated with the design control of the document control of the training with the control of the assessment adequate with the consistent with the license pay for the integrated safety analysis. 0104 determine the applicant with license for the configuration management program ensure that each design chain with the modification value with it determine the effect with each for the chain with the modification performance capability of the items related with the item for safety and when the other safety control of the part of safety design basis. 0105 determine the applicant with license configuration management is complying with the Title 10 Code Federal Regulation 7072 determine the applicant license for the configuration management adequately can coordinate with the integrated with the management and other management measures. 0102 determine if the facility with the new process with the existing facility with the requirement of the license with the equivalent of the Title 10 CFR 7072 comply with the applicable requirements Title 10 CFR 7064. 88201A02 with the inspection requirement inspection procedure with the intent of the provided inspection of the requirements of guidance for the applicable with the wide variety of the potential with the construction process objective for both if the new fuel cycle of the facility with the project with the very greatly scope of the complexity of the risk of the public health with the safety resolve with the not all subsection or subsection of the pen expand the applicable with the implement of the specific facility the recommended right inspection scope of the hours and specific new feasible with the documented principal inspection plan facility with the developed the come with the inspection manual chapter 2694 with the fuel cycle with the construction pre-operated readiness review and inspection program and the additional appendix with the provide additional management measure for the inspection guide with the plant modification inspection existing facility with not uncover the implementation of these projects. Use the appendix with the text and appendix modification existing fuel cycle facility with the down on the case based on the integrated inspection manual chapter 2600 appendix B nuclear regulatory core inspection requirements. 0201 determine the applicant license with the establish the implement effective the configuration management program consistent with the facility with the design operational from the physical configuration faculty facility documentation with the review of the following areas applicable design control will determine if the applicant license with the establish will implement with the effect of the design control of the process ensure with the design requirement associated with the design basis the items relied on for safety configuration management program allows us applies our establishment to the design construction operation document control determine the applicant license with the established with the implement with the adequate process for the creative with the control of the documents rely on safety end of the configuration management program. Change with the control of the determinant of the applicant license for the established for the implement effective proceed with the property address of the following asterisk with the modification from the Title 10 CFR 7072 technical base for the modification inspection chain with the safety health with control of the licensed material. 3. The provision of the existing operating procedure including necessary training with the retraining before operation. 4. Authorization requirement for the modification. 5. The temporary change with the proof of the duration expiration date of the change. And 6. Impact or revision existing program document including application safety analysis integrated safety analysis of the safety program information developed. D. Record of modification term of the applicant license for the establishment with the implement and effective procedure with properly maintaining the record modification specified with the periods including evaluation of the which change for the was to recover the Title 10 CFR 7072 assessment to determine the applicant of the license of the periodically performed audit for the assessment of the check for the adequacy of the configuration management program notification showing the determine the applicant license with the establishment with the implement with the effect of the procedure with the performing the nuclear regulatory change made it without the nuclear regulatory commission prior approval of the applicant with the license provided by the revision program of the documentation specified interval of the Title 10 CFR 7072. Alright, 88201A03 inspection guide with the general guidelines defined until 10 CFR 74 configuration management measure for the provider oversight of the control of the design information safety information required with the modification by impact of the items were relied on for safety of the performance of the function when needed. Applicant with the license of the configuration management program capture the formal documentation go with the design continue with the modification side with the structure of the process system components for the computer program personal activity supporting management instrument measure with the configuration management program adequately coordinated and integrated with the other management measures. Inspector shall the review of the applicant life with the description of the commands for the configuration management include the description of organizational structure with the configuration management activity description process with the proceed with the documentation on the required of the applicant modify with the description on the various level of the configuration management apply with the item relied on for safety to this with the integrated safety analysis of the assessment with the review of the focus with the applicant with the license configuration manager with the provider with the responsible, assurance with the documentation with the engineering, procurement, the installation, modification with the training with the qualification, the effective with the staff with the revision with the distribution, operation, testing, calibration, surveillance, maintenance with the procedure, and drawings and post modification with the testing with the review with the overall with the approach with the configuration management, include the evaluation with the configuration management measure with the associated with the design control, the document control, the change control, assessment described in the following paragraphs: inspection requirements 0201, design control of the applicant, and licensure with the well as well with the document, design control of the process of flexibility, manage the design process with the control of the challenge with the applicant, license with the design control of the measure shall include identification, approval of the documentation, design input with the two with the control of the translation, design input with the design output of the documentation, C with the identification with the control of the design, interface with the design, review with the verification, control of the design changes, review with the design document is adequate with the define with the technical requirements with the significant service with the inconsistent with the license base with the integrated safety analysis. The review of the design document is design change with the inspectorship with the connecting with the new facility with the new process with the existing facility license of the parts of the facility with the system design with facility layout should be based on defense on depth practice with the according with the Title 10 CFR 7064 with the requirement of new facility, new process, existing facility license with the Title 10 CFR part of the authority may commit similar practice with inspectorship with the review of the licensing of these facilities. Like control of the applicant, the license shall have with a well-developed document process with the control of the operation, issue with the document, such with the instruction pursuit with the drawing with the included change with the well item with the safety well with the configuration management program that can include design integrated safety assessment with the built and drawing with the specification pursuit with the items relied on pursuit with the procedure with the info with the training with the quality assurance with the maintenance audit with the assessment with the emergency operation with the pursuit with the emergency response plan with the system modification document assessment reports of the applicant license deemed over the part of the configuration management program with the record with the generated maintained with the included the integrated safety assessment with the safety analysis facility process description items relied on for safety procedure with the training with the appointment of the internal inspection audit principle with the review with the configuration management program with the value with the extent of the formal life with the institution capability extent of the involved with coordination between safety and other plan and function of the configuration management programs with the design the base of the documentation crime of the maintain the associated test support instruction information. Change control project review of the configuration management program control process to focus on the effect of the written procedure with the compass of the requirement configuration management determination systems. Determine the applicant license pursue the detail with how to evaluate the modification with the review with the evaluate with the empower with the proper asset with the assess of the change. Figure with the operation discussion document review of the written procedure with the existing safety with the integrated safety assessment change with the control with the determine with the pursue with the identify with the process with the carrying out with the change value with the procedures. Include adequate instruction include with the responsible preparing profit description items relied on for specifically so with the limited control of the maintenance surveillance with the proceed with the inspection verification proceed with the record with the nuclear criticality and safety with the requisition update with the inspections of the requirements of item Title 10 CFR Part 21 postings as applicable determining with the proceed with the identify with the process with the carrying out with the proceed with the chain with the maintenance with the surveillance procedure with the pre-post inspection verification proceed with the record with the training with the posting with the post change inspection with the audit requirements. Determine whether the program required with the appropriate level of supervisor review with the procedure with the development include with the act with the requirement of operation with the review with the chain with the request with the response with the preparing with the document certain with the process with the description safety integrated safety analysis limited with the control of involved. All safety evaluation integrated safety assessment with the maintain with the configuration of the management system with the ensure the identify with the process equipment ethics and the pathways items relied on for safety limited control of the parameter of the NCS with the control system the hosting of the training requirement safety evaluation integrated safety assessment with the clear the document with the assumption with the SM with the staff members of the performance of the configuration management program include the engineering control system for the maintenance program include with the required schedule for the preventive maintenance for the calibration of the turbines to provide for the adequate control to ensure with the appropriate replacement appropriate safety control measures systems records of the modification of the applicant license for the maintain of the record and change with the Title 10 CFR 72 with the license termination include with the written value with the provide with the base of the determination with no power of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission approval of Title 10 72C with D is required. If applicant license with the criteria with the make of the determination should with the B with the capture of the license with the original with the interview with the review with the inspector with the confirm with the logic of the reach with the time and the conclusion the type of the change of the file with the, that made with a warrant more detailed evaluation demonstrate with the prove with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission approval with not record within the file with the change of the record with the accident with the incident with the X and the for change of the addition require with additional access sequence with the integrated Safety assessment summary with the records of the document of the integrated safety assessment with the already listed an accident sequence with the train type of the train with the remove of the items relied on for the record with the document either with the items relied on for the items relied on with the safety being removed and not need with the meet with the performance requirements of the with the reply with the items relied on for safety items relied on safety that provide least equivalent safety function. Change of the dissolvable items relied on for shape of the record with the document, change of the alteration with the change with the modified with the positive with the negative, anybody attributed to associate with the shape of the function items relied on for shape of the chain with the include with the new power for the technology with the control system, the records of the document, and the license of the relevant prior experience with the license authorized with the activity assessment applicant, the license for the conduct of the periodic assessment to determine the configuration management program effectiveness, current with the deficiency of the assessment with the should be performed with a qualified individual with a component. Warnings for the procedure for the checklist include with the physical verification built within construction with the meet design requirements. Notification license required with the bang with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission summary with the modification effect for the record with the Title 10 CFR 1762 with the A2 with the modification integrated safety assessment. Regulatory guide 374 with the guidance of fuel cycle with the facility change with the process with the describe with the type of the chain with the license with the prior with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission before the implementation of the regulatory guide with the script top of the license can evaluate the potential change determine the Nuclear Regulatory Commission on approval is required before implementing with the item. Then regulatory guide 374 with the identify with the acceptable level of information provided with the license with the document reporting change with the made with the prior with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. 88-201-804 resource estimate. The resource estimate complete with the appendix with the dependent with the facility with the ability to determine the principal inspection plan with the facility with the detail of the resource with the estimate identified with the incident plan. 88-201 section 04 resource estimate. 88-201-805 with the procedure completion and the dependent with the facility determine the principal inspection plan with the facility. 8201-0806 of the American National Standard Institute of the American Nuclear Society. 81-1998 Nuclear Critical Safety Operation feasible within the two of the outside of the reactors. American Nuclear Society of LaGrange, Illinois, dated 1998. NURJAG 1513 on the Integrated Safety Analysis guidance document made in 2001. NURGID 1520 Standard Review Plan Review of the License Application Fuel Cycle Facility dated March 2002. Regular Guidance 374 Guidance of the Fuel Cycle Change Process January 2012. And listed with attachment revision Incident Management Plan Appendix 21A. And that is all the appendixes to the Nuclear Regulatory Inspection Configuration and Inspection Procedures. But there's a whole big list, 54 pages, so I'm not going to read it, but these are the basic ones.